All right, photos. More No Kings protests across the US. Now, we saw a couple of conservatives already on Twitter saying that the numbers of protesters were dwindling, where it only happened on a street corner. You know, the numbers are overstated, but let's see the actual proof, right? The actual pictures behind the protest. God damn, that is a lot of people. I think I saw a tweet saying, imagine if the protest was called a No Hitler protest. Would Trump still be posting AI images of himself in that context? Would he be posting AI images of him being Hitler? Damn, that's Chicago, October 18th, 2025. That's a lot of people. They don't all seem to be from the aged care home, which is what a lot of conservatives are saying. This one is in Florida. Wow. Respect to anyone who went in a red state, because goddamn, Republicans are emotional. Republicans are violent. Washington, D.C. Make America good again. Make America a democracy. If there's money for a parade, there is money for Medicaid. Whoa, damn, that's a bar. I assume they're talking about the military parade that Trump had to do on his birthday. Just had to point this out real quick. One of these is Trump's birthday / military parade. The other is the thousands of No Kings protests. Try to guess which is which. I mean, if anything, I think Trump's ego is hurt because no one gave a fuck about his birthday, whereas they do give a fuck about him being an authoritarian dictator. Fabulous fighting fascism. Fuck yeah. What's that in the background? America. Jesus. How has that not been burnt down yet? The poster, not the building, if any conservatives are wondering. This was sick. Having the Constitution rolled out like this in the middle of the protest, that was pretty sick. Sorry for being weird, this is my first dictatorship. Proud American ashamed of our government. Yes, exactly. And Republicans have no issue calling it the hate America rap, as if that's gonna hold. I'd say the ones hating America are the ones speedrunning it into a dictatorship, like Trump, Stephen Miller. And I love this whole inflatable thing because it completely undermines the talking point that they're trying to spin that these protests were violent at all. And I think a lot of police departments on Twitter are now saying that the protesters were peaceful. Nothing happened. No incidents to report. It completely undermines the talking point from Fox News that the Democrats rather are the violent ones. They're rocking up in costumes, in inflatables. Like, come off it, dumb pricks. All right, valid. Singing my song at a No Kings protest.
America has fallen, turned our men into women. Our billionaires get private islands where they're trafficking children. The flag...
Motherfucker, that's the president. Motherfucker, that's Trump. Are you kidding? Oh, buddy.
Is burning in the streets. We don't believe the politicians. We defunded the police and free speech has been restricted. And Canada
They're
has
too
fallen.
dumb to realize I'm dissing them. Buddy, I don't think anyone's listening. You're not singing anything. You're lip syncing, crossing a road. Go do that shit in the middle of Chicago City where the protesters actually were.
Ain't worth a buck. If you misgender someone there, you're getting fined or locked up. Trudeau censored the internet, then they banned half the guns. The trucker convoy was the last breath of freedom in their lungs, and the UK.
The general gist that I'm trying to communicate is that notice how no one gives a fuck that you are a conservative counter-protesting. Notice how no one is interacting with you because they know your existence is contingent on the orange dictator being in power. Your existence is contingent on the fact that Republicans are using you for your vote while screwing you over in favor of their Republican donors. No one gives a fuck if you're counter-protesting No King's Day because you don't understand it. You don't understand what's going on in your own country that leads to a protest like this. No one gives a fuck that you're counter-protesting until you start antagonizing those protesters and then cry, bitch and moan like earlier in the video because someone knocked your hat off, someone stole your sunglasses. Then you scream bloody murder. You post your little clips to Twitter because you have nothing better to do with your time. No one gives a fuck that you are conservative, counter-protesting. Truly.
Welcome back. Day 17 of the government shutdown, and House Speaker Mike Johnson is frustrated.
I feel like on a day like this, at the end of another long week, I just feel like we ought to apologize. I hate that we have to do this. I don't want to be here any more than you do talking about this subject. It is so difficult to be a happy warrior when you know that so many millions of American people are suffering, being made to suffer unnecessarily because of the Democrats' political games.
Budget director.
Weren't Republicans the one blocking Biden's immigration plan? Is that not what the deal is? You know, if you want things to pass in government, it needs to be bipartisan. Not that the Democrats are playing a game. They just understand that the budget reconciliation bill is a deeply flawed bill. that serves nothing but conservative donors. Mike Johnson out of everyone is the slimiest out of it for even thinking to blame the Democrats. But are we surprised that the one man who has a stake in America becoming a dictatorship, amongst other men who also have economic stakes in America becoming a dictatorship, are we surprised that they're trying to communicate that to their dumbass audience, to their dumbass voting base? No, it shouldn't come as a surprise because they've always done it.
Russ vote saying this afternoon more cuts are coming due to the shutdown. He says the Democrats have helped drain cash from the Army Corps of Engineers, and he says they now will be pausing over $11 billion in projects.
Trump's Grim Reaper from Project 2025 to shutdown enforcer. But wait, I thought Republicans were trying to distance themselves from Project 2025 talk. Trump didn't know that what was happening. Trump doesn't know anyone associated with Project 2025. Surely that's not another lie spun by the Republican Party. Surely not. Donald Trump had a warning to Democrats. I have a meeting today with Russ Vought, he of Project 2025 fame. Right. Just so we know who Fox News are talking about.
Do you think it's an objective problem when ICE officers are the targets of assassination, for example, in Dallas, Texas?
That's part of the job. You want to be a goon for Trump? It's part of the job. Sorry.
No one should be assassinated. That goes without saying. And our movement is a profoundly nonviolent movement.
Is this Fox News presenter going to be holding the same sort of energy for the Minnesotan lawmaker and her husband that was assassinated by the right? The judges, or the single judge who went against Trump, who had their house burnt down? Is that same effort going to be reciprocated by this Fox News anchor?
Don't you think that by saying President Trump is an authoritarian, by saying that, you're making people believe that their lives are actually at risk? In fact, by that rhetoric, aren't you legitimizing those, even if they're crazy? You're giving them the legitimacy to turn to violence?
I mean, let's see what the Republican government is doing. Trying to pass a budget reconciliation that will result in upwards of 50,000 deaths. Passing a budget reconciliation that will slash Medicaid to a lot of red states as well as blue. A lot of the constituents that voted Trump in. Rural hospitals will be hit. 170 will close. 60% of Trump supporters didn't want anything to do with Medicaid touched, or they wanted continual funding. Deploying troops into blue states off of a false pretense of crime. You can bitch and moan about the left crying authoritarianism at anything that Trump does, but once those things stop being authoritarian, then maybe we can go past that point. Maybe when Trump stops acting like a dictator, stops posting AI images of he as a king, him and JD Vance with crowns on, maybe we can go past the point where we call it an authoritarian regime. But we're never going to get past that point, are we? Because Republicans have shown time and time again that they are not interested in the best interests of the American people, of the best interests of the community. No, why would they be? They have no financial incentive to care. So Republican supporters bitch and moan about the No Kings protest. They're the ones in power. Republicans are bitching and moaning about the government shutdown. They're the ones in power. Make the necessary change for the American people. Again, they're not going to. They don't care. They have no incentive to help the American people. And that is what the No Kings protest is about. Making that apparent to their dumbass followers.